My life, I believe that self-care is something that all Black people should be prioritizing. I definitely prioritize it, and I prioritize Black women and girls in my work. I'm gonna read a piece to you about my grandmother, who I think unintentionally showed me how to invest in myself and in my peace. She didn't say those words to me, but her she modeled it for me every day. And I'm gonna try to make this piece be kid friendly too, so I don't have to. It's titled Shortbread Cookies and Mysteries. My maternal grandmother taught me a lot about peace. To many, she was experienced as a person who could be quite strong-willed, argumentative, and not able to be controlled. As a woman who was born and raised in the early 1900s, those characteristics were not appreciated and didn't gain her many friends or fans. But she didn't care. She was who she was and strongly believed in the fact that she deserved human rights, and in her own way, she was going to get them and be treated with respect by any means necessary. Through outbursts of frustration and through hushed whispers, even when she was within earshot, family members would often question why she was the way that she was, stubborn, uncompromising, or even bougie. She knew that neither the family nor the world approved, but again, she did not care. Though I observed my grandmother behave in various ways toward many people in the world to fight for respect, dignity, and to have the things she felt she deserved, I got a very different experience from her. My experience was one of unconditional love, tenderness, kindness, softness, and much to the dismay of my parents, I was downright spoiled by her. She did not care about my parents' feelings about that either. From the time I was 5 years old, my grandmother mostly lived with me, my parents, and my brother throughout my childhood and stayed with them until after I had grown up and moved away until she passed in 2009. Between the ages of 10 and 17, my bedroom was right next door to my grandmother's room, and I spent a lot of time in her room during the years. When I was younger, if I had a nightmare, I'd run to her room so I could hide. During the daytime, I'd spend countless hours in my grandmother's room, chatting away while we did crossword puzzles, read articles in the Reader's Digest magazine, while enjoying tea and shortbread cookies. In the late afternoon and evenings, we'd watch old TV shows and mysteries. The many hours, days, and years spent in my grandmother's room provided me with not just the love, care, and comfort from the person who was essentially my third parent. She taught me a valuable unspoken lesson: the importance of creating a home environment that was peaceful. Whether I was happy or sad, scared or feeling brave, healthy or under the weather, my grandmother in her bedroom always had an open door policy for me and was my refuge, my safe haven, my place of peace from a world that was quite often the opposite for Black girls like me. During the day, her bedroom and ensuite bathroom was sunny and bright, and it was very clean and tidy, everything having its place. She had lots of fancy clothes and other fancy things like perfume bottles, jewelry, and knickknacks. She demonstrated for me how important it was to care for the things you had, and that I deserved not only to have nice things, but also a nice environment for myself and my nice things. She also demonstrated how she would not hesitate to keep anyone or anything out of her living space that disturbed her environment she had created for herself. She always had an open door for me, but I've seen her slam that very door several times to keep out unwanted energy if necessary. My grandmother, to everyone else, was a force to be reckoned with, but to me, she was the peaceful nurturer that demonstrated for me how important it was to have a peaceful space in your home. As an adult, I learned just how much peace is a critical part of my self-care and my overall wellness. Living in this world as a Black person, and particularly a Black woman, I too am very unapologetic about keeping certain energies that most people out of my home. In the last few years, I've even begun to look for more ways to incorporate peace into my life. As the oldest child in my family, I was a born leader, protector, and advocate, and I carry those identities with me throughout my life. I took up for, protected, and advocated for so many, including myself, and those who are members of the Black community. However, one day, I realized that I was doing too much. All the advocacy, observing the stories of the wrongs done to so many, being the holder of so many secrets shared with me of the wrongdoings bestowed upon other Black women and Black people, was keeping me in an internal state of unrest, and I didn't even realize it. I was born and programmed to be strong, so it was all I ever knew. But I needed to create a bit more balance and not just enjoy peace and tranquility while at home. I had to find a way to create more peace in other areas of my life as well. So one day, I just decided that I was retiring from being everyone's advocate. Now that didn't mean that I was going to stop being an advocate. I just had to adjust how often I would be available to do so. I thought back to some of what my grandmother modeled for me and decided to shut out some things by not attending certain events, discontinue or refrain from watching certain programs, going on a huge news diet, and I stopped being available to everyone all the time. Slowly, quietly, allowing others to step up, take the baton, and take on some of the weight of advocacy. Once I did that, amazing things began to happen. I was already happy, but I became happier. I already enjoyed long walks by the water, but I enjoyed them on a deeper level. I enjoyed my alone time, but I went deeper and began to be able to enter a meditative space that left me feeling more refreshed than I ever had. My skin even became more vibrant. I got more restorative sleep, and I felt a deeper sense of calm that I didn't consciously realize I needed to improve. Most of all, my nervous system calmed quite a bit. Another thing that I didn't realize needed to happen. I just can't thank my grandmother enough for her unspoken lesson of creating peace for myself and for demonstrating that having peace is a human right. So every once in a while, I'll sit at home and eat a shortbread cookie in her honor while enjoying another moment of peace, as it is not just a human right, it's also my birthright.
I know that's right.
So I grew up, obviously, and I decided that self-care was going to be my number one priority. I now have 8 books that are self-care resources for children, teens, and adults. The one I'm the most proud of is this one, 100 Days of Gentle Accountability for Black Women. I do have them for sale, all of my books on my table. I think it's very important not only for us to have books like this, have a resource, something that we can use that's just for us, but I took great pains to make sure that we are represented throughout this book. So these are just some of the pictures that are throughout the book. It is every representation, kind of like this, that we show up in like every way that we look, shape, size, skin tone, hair texture, abilities, all those things. So I hope that you will take my words with you, think about them, whether you get my book or not, and remember that self-care is your human right.
Thank you so much. And she is so right. Self-care is our right. It's not selfish. It's necessary. So thank you for those words. And